Hello and welcome back to Talkwell Counselling's Bite-Sized Therapy. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cameroon and I am a qualified psychotherapist, social worker and family mediator. So today's topic is about self-sabotage and how we can spot it, how we can address it and why we do it. There's a lot to the kind of thought process that we go through. If you've missed any of my previous videos, feel free to click the link below. There is a playlist. There's also a subscribe button if you like what you watch, and you can share it with friends and family. Okay, so speaking as a therapist, I see people in my own counselling room who, this is a very common theme, self-sabotage. They have a harsh inner critic that will not allow them to be free, and it's quite astounding the power of the mind. We really underestimate just how much power our mind can have over us, and the inner dialogue that we have with ourselves. It's often quite negative, quite critical, quite cruel, almost intimidating and bullying ourselves, thinking the worst of ourselves and not allowing ourselves to just be. People carry such self-limiting beliefs and self-defeating behaviours result out of those limited beliefs. It could be things like fear of failure, dislike of themselves and part of themselves, don't like how they look or don't like how parts of their personality. It can leave you feeling unloved, unworthy, not trusting your own judgment. And at the end of the day, the result is feeling emotionally drained, exhausted and unhappy. The most astounding thing is we do it to ourselves. We are kind of our own worst enemies. These thought processes that we have going through our minds, this inner critic, it kind of lives in your head kind of rent free, and you really need to be evicting that dude or dudette, whatever you want to call it. Some people name it. That thing that lives in, has a headspace and doesn't allow you to relax. That thing in your head, that inner voice, if you like, in your head, that dialogue that you have that tells you that you're useless, that tells you you'll never get anywhere in life. That's a very cruel voice. What we need to be doing is really challenging our own thought processes. Are we really useless? Most likely we're not. Yeah, we're not useless. So why is it okay to tell ourselves internally that we are? And because what will happen then is you'll start to believe it and you'll start acting on it. And it'll affect your thoughts and your behaviours, so you end up in a spiral of self-fulfilling prophecy. So basically there is a formula. If you think it, you believe it, you start talking like it and you start behaving like it. I have a very, very favourite quote that I use in therapy with my clients, and it's by Buddha, and I'll pull it up for you. It is this. So you can see, what you think you become. So that's the first part of the quote. Now if you think that you are useless, if you think that you are unlovable, you almost become those things because you act on it, you believe it, and you give out the vibe to the universe that you are that. It's very important that you think positively of yourself and have an open mind to change, open mind to yourself, instead of being closed off and only believing the worst about yourself. Yeah. So what you think you become. Yeah. You can become the very enemy of yourself. The next part of it, what you feel you attract. Okay. So what you feel you attract. That part of the quote talks about how you go through a number of feelings. And each of those feelings, if they're negative in nature, so anxious, depressed, worried, feeling angry, feeling that you are not good enough, that you are not worthy, those are the things that you will attract. Because if you feel a certain way, it's like negative energy, you'll attract negative energy. People generally don't like to be around miserable people. Yeah, people like moths to a flame will go to the most confident person in the room, that will feel most attracted to the charisma and the kind of confidence and the self-assuredness that a person has. Yeah, so if you feel rubbish, you're going to attract some pretty negative vibes, and generally people don't like to be around negative people. Yeah. So the next bit of the quote is, what you imagine you create. Now that's pretty powerful, and the whole quote is by Buddha, but I'm sure plenty of other learned people have said similar things. What you imagine you create. So what does that mean? If you imagine a world where the whole world's against you and it's you versus the world, and everything goes to rubbish when you touch it and nothing works out for you, that is your life script. That's what you live life to, because you believe it. You think it, you believe it, you act it, you speak it. You can flip that script, you know. It may be a script that was handed down to you from family, friends. It may be a script that you created from experiencing life's tougher challenges. Whatever it is, you are in control of your destiny. You do not have to live that negative vibe anymore. You do not have to live with those limiting beliefs, because the more you think that way, the worse you'll feel. Yeah? So you need to really look at your life script. What has life taught you so far? If life has been difficult, granted it's been difficult, it doesn't have to continue being difficult, because if you can have the power in your mind to tell yourself there's always a lesson in everything, doesn't matter how bad things get, every life experience that you've had has shaped who you are today. It's made you more resilient. It's shown you or highlighted your blessings, because none of us are without blessing. It's about how you look at things, how you view things. And there are many ways of combating the feelings of self-sabotage. It can be remedied, is what I'm saying. You don't have to continue living in this negative spiral. The past does not have to repeat in your future. Yeah? Any current issues can be managed with the right support. So that can be through therapy, that can be through mindfulness, that can be through really kind of getting to grips with what's going on for you. Journal it all, write it down. Don't be afraid to take professional help if you need counselling. Look up a useful counsellor. At the end of the day, it's about feeling more emotionally secure and being open to a different way of thinking, because the mind is all powerful. Yeah, the mind can have a very strong and powerful effect on the heart as well. So if we look at much of the cause of our unhappiness, what we'll find that it's often in our mindset and the thought processes we have. Sometimes you get people who overanalyze, and that in itself can be problematic, because the problem becomes bigger and bigger and bigger in your mind until it feels overwhelming to deal with, and that's where you get anxiety and depression that kick in. Self-sabotage can sometimes be a coping mechanism. I'll get in there first, I'll say something horrible about myself, I'll think something bad so that other people don't do it for me. That's a defense mechanism, but it's a negative spiral, it's a negative cycle, because what you're doing is thinking bad of yourself and therefore believing bad about yourself and behaving in that way as well. So it could be learnt behaviour. Sometimes we can pick up negative ways of coping, and that could be brought up from childhood into adulthood, or you pick it up in adulthood. You start to notice that you're not happy, and then you kind of ruminate and kind of exacerbate the problem. Instead of changing your state, you stay stuck in that mode of anxiety or depression or worry or rumination. There is something to be said for bodily movement and changing your physiology as well as changing your thoughts. We are one whole system. Yeah, we're not just made up of body, we're made up of body, mind, spirit, soul, etc., etc. There's different parts to us. We have to work together holistically as a unit in order to create an effective change in ourselves. So if we're feeling lethargic, if we're feeling down, you don't often feel like going out and getting fresh air, but by doing so you will change your state. So you can choose, and you always have a choice. You can choose to stay in that state, in that depressive state, just hunched up, or you can choose to open up your body, open up your mind, go out, get some fresh air, take in the blessings that you have around you. It takes willpower, yes, granted, but it's doable. It's small, subtle, day-to-day changes that will help make a bigger change overall. So, give yourself that time and space to allow yourself to change. It's very possible, and it's been done by plenty of people in the past, and it will continue to be achieved. You just have to want it enough, yeah? There is a formula, a self-sabotage formula. So the way it works, okay, basically there is a thought process that occurs when you start negatively thinking about yourself, and it includes guilt. So part of the self-sabotage formula, if you like, is guilt. So because I carry guilt, therefore I should be punished. Okay, so you feel guilt about a certain situation and you'll start to punish yourself because you feel that that's the appropriate action. But what you're effectively doing is becoming your own worst enemy and beating yourself with a stick, which means you'll stay in a bad place. Guilt tells you that you've done a bad thing and you deserve to be punished. That's what the role of guilt. It's not necessarily a reality. So you thought it in your head and therefore you start acting on it. There isn't any kind of guarantee that you'll get what you need from doing that. In fact, you'll probably feel worse afterwards. Yeah. There's shame. Part of the self-sabotage formula includes shame as well. So because I am ashamed, therefore I should hide or suppress my emotions and just be invisible. Shame is all-encompassing. It's a very negative laden emotion. It's basically tells you that you are a bad person, not that you've done a bad thing. That's the difference between guilt and shame. Guilt is I did a bad thing, therefore I should be punished. Shame is I am a bad person and therefore I must be punished. There is that horrible, holistically negative thought and feeling about yourself when shame comes into the picture, and it's inherently in certain cultures it's used to control people as well, because you've got the whole kind of shaming culture, and that's really unhealthy as well. Feelings of shame are often most prevalent when we feel that something isn't right, or we've done something and we feel that it doesn't sit with our values, or something's happened to us and therefore we feel shame as a result of it. There are so many different types of shame and reasons we feel it. The idea is that we don't fall into the trap of feeling that we are bad because of it, because shame can erode at your very soul. It's a very powerful emotion to have. Being broken. So part of the self-sabotage feeling is feeling broken. I feel broken, therefore I must be whole. You kind of fight to become something that you're struggling to become. So you're kind of almost denying the fact that something bad has happened to you, and you're kind of skipping over the processing and the healing to get to I'm okay. So you put on this mask of okayness when you're not okay. If something awful has happened in your life that has broken you or has damaged you or has caused you trauma, that needs to be processed, that needs to be kind of looked at with a view to healing it, not to stay stuck in it. Yeah. And ignoring the problem or trying to appear whole and okay is a form of denial, and it's a defense mechanism that will only delay the inevitable. You're just procrastinating, you're putting off having, to deal with the problem itself. Another thing that self-sabotage makes us feel is blamed. So it's a blameworthy characteristic. I carry blame, therefore I should carry all the burdens of that. Well, there's only so much we can carry as humans. We have broad shoulders, but we cannot carry the world's problems. We can deal with things one thing at a time. We can address problems one thing at a time. And putting blame on ourselves, where do we go from that? How do you, if you blame yourself for everything that goes wrong, where do you go? What do you do with that? You can't then climb out of the abyss that you fall into if everything becomes your own fault. There's no way out of that. So blame is a very heavy thing. There's self-blame, there's blame on others, but the point is blame needs to be balanced with reality and also apportioned. Sometimes there's many people to blame for a situation, sometimes there's nobody to blame for a situation. Try to be open towards the feelings of blame, because sometimes things happen and there's no control. It's just one of those things, and there is no blame. So putting yourself in that blameworthy situation, or blaming yourself for something that isn't your fault, can actually be quite damaging. Self-sabotage has a habit of leaving us feeling unloved as well. So because I am unloved, therefore I should be perfect. So you fall into the trap of trying to chase something that will never become. Yeah. If you're unloved, or you feel unloved, because most people will have a form of love in their lives, whether it's from family, from friends, from even a pet, love is all around us, if you'd like. There is that song as well, but we won't go there. So love is universal, and to feel unloved is quite hurtful to oneself, to one's soul, because we all need that connection. We need to feel that we are lovable and can be loved. So if in chasing that love we strive to be perfect, there is no version of perfect. Perfectionism is flawed in its very nature, because whose version of perfect are you? There is no such thing as perfection. It is something, it's an illusion. You can be as good as you can be. That's all you can do, because we all have different ways about us, and being perfect is impossible. It's an impossibility, because there is no such thing as perfect. So how can you become perfect in order to be loved? It's a self-defeating cycle. It makes no sense. Another thing that self-sabotage will make you feel, or will be a sense of imperfection, as I mentioned earlier. Because I am imperfect, therefore I must become better, and you can start imitating others because you think that is perfection, or you'll find something in someone else and you think that must be a good thing. And maybe it is a good thing, but you cannot fake who you are. You are who you are. What you can do is address it and work on it. If there are areas you're not happy with, fine, look at them, address them, work on them. But if you are, generally speaking, okay, and you can admit to yourself that you are okay in yourself, that there isn't any major flaw in your personality, then you're kind of punishing yourself for something that there's nothing wrong with you, basically. So why are we so quick to self-sabotage? Why are we so quick to judge ourselves in negative, when actually we are who we are, and everybody is unique, and there is no right or wrong about it. That's the point I'm making. There is no right way of being, and there's no wrong way of being. There is just the way of being that you are, and that should be enough. Does that make sense? So there are several ways to combat self-sabotage, and I'll give you a few pointers. Think about what you do in your day-to-day activities. Do you engage, what activities do you engage in at home, at work, with family? What kind of things do you do? Do any of those things trigger you in any way? So when you're with family, when you're at work, are you triggered in any way? Do you have any internal struggles or behaviours that are present when you're around others? Those are the type of clues that will give you, if you're self-sabotaging, because you'll change your behaviour to suit. What is your inner dialogue saying to you throughout the day? That inner voice that is unpleasant, the one that's living there rent-free that you need to really evict. What is that voice saying to you? What are the negative messages that you're giving to yourself? And then I want you to try to identify those behaviours and triggers that are stopping you from achieving a task. So if there's something that you need to do or get done at work or at home or in your relationship that you're just putting off, you don't know how to do, or you don't want to do, or there's some reluctance or resistance, what is it that's stopping you from doing those things? Are you not doing them because you feel that you might fail? And that's a self-sabotaging behaviour, because it's a self-limiting belief. Fear of failure will often stop us from taking that leap of faith and doing those things, and keep us stuck in that ruminating cycle of, well, I might fail, so I won't bother, so I won't try, and you'll stay stagnant in your state. You won't progress or develop as a person. What goals or ambitions in life have you been unable to achieve, and why? Because there will be a reason why you haven't done those things. Think about those types of what ifs in life. If you had taken those steps, where would you be now? What is stopping you from achieving your life's goals and ambitions, if you like? Try focusing on the positive stuff. Yes, focus on the blessings you have in your life. Focus on what's going right instead of what's going wrong, because we have a tendency to focus on the negative stuff, and that keeps us in a bad place, because all we're doing is thinking about the bad stuff. We're not doing anything about it. If you're thinking about the bad stuff in order to do something about it and be proactive, that's fine, because then you're addressing it, you're troubleshooting if you like. But if you're just thinking about it and ruminating about it but not actually acting on it or not addressing those problems, you're just perpetuating the cycle, a negative cycle. So make a mental note of your negative thoughts when you're feeling low, and then evaluate that list. So maybe write down some of those negative thoughts so you can see them, not swimming around in your head. Review that list, go through each point, challenge yourself on those thoughts. Is there any evidence for thinking that way or believing those self-sabotaging thoughts about yourself? How can you justify them? Yeah. Identify a person you admire and believe is successful in life. It helps to sometimes have a positive role model, as I mentioned in our previous talk. Ask them for advice if it's someone you can reach. If it's, if you admire a friend, a family member, a work colleague, ask them, how do you stay motivated? They will have their own coping mechanisms and strategies. It may work for you, may not, but it's worth asking, because it's about connecting with others and learning skills and tools that you can use in your own life as well. It's a day-to-day thing, and little subtle changes day to day can create a different result. Yeah, doing the same thing over and over will not create a different result, because that's a fool's errand. So try to make small changes. So start to action plan how you intend to achieve your goals. Start organising yourself and set yourself small tasks every day that are working towards that bigger goal. And chunk it out so it's not overwhelming. Sometimes this is what I want to do. It's a big thing over there. How are we going to get over there? Well, it's too big, so I'm not going to start. I don't even know where to start. Well, that's going to stop you. So try to think about how you can achieve it step by step in small ways, and start to action plan little bite-sized chunks that you can do, which will eventually lead to the bigger goal. And enjoy the journey. Sometimes we're so focused on getting there, we forget that the part of the journey is where the learning is, where the growth is. So enjoy it, take your time, plan and do. Have an ongoing to-do list up on your wall if you're an organiser, if you like writing things down, and tick off things as you do them regularly. It just helps to organise your thoughts and organise your time as well. Sometimes tools like having a week to view calendar that you've got up on the wall, or a white memo board, can help you plan ahead. So you can see what activities are due, and you can also look at review past achievements, because as you move forward and you start making those little achievements, you'll get these small wins. Celebrate those victories, because at the end of the day you're on the move, you are not stagnating, you are not stuck in that negative cycle anymore. Yeah, so don't stress if you fall behind, rejig things. Sometimes life happens and you don't get to achieve all you want in a certain week or on a certain day. Just start again, recalibrate, start again, or rejig the calendar so it fits your lifestyle. So often with all the best intentions, things don't go as planned. It has been noted, as I've mentioned in previous videos, that it takes 30 days to form a new habit, or 30 days to break an old habit. So start with a new positive behaviour or a new positive thought, consistently and consciously repeat it on a daily basis until it becomes a behaviour, and a habit. So choose something productive that will improve your life. It can be something as small as saving money in a little tin, or it can be as small as something that you kind of do for yourself, like a self-care routine, that you take 10 minutes out to just sit and ponder on the day, or journal for a few minutes, or remind yourself of the blessings of that day, just to show gratitude and feel positive. Maybe even yoga, take up something that will boost your energy levels and give you some time to reflect. But yeah, even writing a blog, do whatever pleases you, what makes your heart sing, what gives you a moment to yourself that you can actually focus on and be present with and mindful with. So make yourself accountable for achieving each goal bit by bit, so that you do follow through on it. Begin to look at yourself more kindly as well. Have some compassion, become your own best friend. This will take time and perseverance, and sometimes it helps to kind of write down all of your good traits and all your qualities that you admire in yourself, because we've all got them. We might shy away, but there's often a lot of good in us that we don't focus on because we're so busy looking at the bad stuff. Positive daily affirmations are good, telling yourself different things that are positive. That helps to boost confidence and keep you motivated. So a few positive affirmations could be: I am worthy, I matter, I have a lot to offer, I don't sweat the small stuff, I appreciate the beauty in life, I am grateful for what I have, I am intelligent, I am valued, and I am loved, I am respectable, and I deserve love, I deserve success, I am awesome, I am kind. There's so many, the list goes on. But be true to yourself, say authentic things that sound right to you, because you know what you are, and all you're doing is tapping into those good thoughts and feelings and saying them out to yourself in your mind and your heart, out loud if you need to as well, reminding yourself of the good stuff and not just focusing on the bad. So often we don't speak to other people the way we are so horrible in our own minds and in that self-sabotage mode. The person you speak most to in a weird way is yourself, because it's all that stuff going on in here. We probably have more conversations in our own minds with ourselves than we do with other people, so bear that in mind and be kind. What you tell yourself you'll come to believe, so feed it positivity and nurture it and offer it love and acceptance. At the end of the day, the only opinion that matters is your own, if you have a good view of yourself or not. And the minute you begin to like and accept the whole of you, the easier life becomes, because you're not fighting against yourself, you're not in a turmoil or conflict. Basically I'm asking you to get out of your own way so you can be successful in life. As I've mentioned in previous videos, and I will do so again, it is the therapist's mantra: make time for self-care. It is so important to have me time, quality time where you do things that fulfill you, that give you the energy to keep going. So it could be taking a walk in nature, having a bubble bath, booking a massage, spending time with friends and family, going for a coffee, even going for a movie on your own. Who said that you have to do everything in company? It could be stuff that you do by yourself. Take up drawings, take up bird watching, do something, or even just go to bed, have a nap. Life is so busy nowadays. Give yourself an afternoon off and just chill. You watch a bit of telly, your favourite soaps, whatever it takes to give yourself, in the busy melee of life, a little oasis of calm, and schedule that in if you can on a week-to-week or month-to-month basis, however often you feel you need it, to re-energise yourself, because we are only human and we will crash and burn, and our body will certainly stop us when we've done too much and we'll end up getting ill. So take time out for relaxation. It's a very busy world. Never be afraid to fail. That is a very big one, and I've struggled with this myself. Failure can be so scary, it can look so scary, but it's only after you've failed that you realise that there is lessons in it. So, failure does promote growth, because what you didn't know before, you then know. You know what not to do, you learn, and it promotes growth. So if you don't make mistakes, how will you ever learn from them? Failure is actually a tool to learn and progress and move forward, so don't be afraid of it. Take chances, take a few risks in life. You never know, they might just pay off. Worst case scenario, you learn, you move on, you try something different. Unless you try, you'll stagnate and be stuck in that kind of negative cycle. And don't go it alone. If you need help, just ask. There are plenty of people around you, I'm guessing, friends, family, even professionals. Give others a chance to offer you that support. Ask for help when you need it. Sometimes it helps to have a nominated person, like a mentor. So like for Alcoholics Anonymous or weight loss issues, you'll get help from a fellow person going through the similar issues that you are, and it helps to have that mentor, like a buddy system. So if you can set something like that up for yourself, why not? Go ahead. It's pretty much like having a personal trainer that helps people in the gym with exercise plans, only this one will be somebody who helps you along with your self-esteem, somebody who helps you along with positive thought processes. You can go on this journey together and promise yourselves that you will become more kind to yourselves and find the better stuff in you that will help you grow and promote you, as opposed to keeping you down. So just booking treats for yourself as well. Life can be quite mundane, so have some things to look forward to. If you can afford it, booking holidays, even just booking little time out sessions for yourself where you've got something where you know it's coming, something you can be excited about, plan for, and celebrate small victories. It's important that we don't forget each time we have an achievement, even if it's after a failure, you know, that you've learned something, that's still an achievement. So celebrate the small victories and all the learning that you're doing along the way. It's very important to chart that so that you can see your progress. And that concludes the talk today. We've been discussing self-sabotage. So thank you for joining me. For those who haven't met me before, I'll remind you, my name is Cameroon, and I am a qualified psychotherapist, family mediator and social worker. And I offer these bite-sized videos just to give everybody out there a free resource and tool to improve their mental health. It's part of my Talkwell bite-sized therapy service. I offer these free videos online. So hopefully I'll see you next week, and we'll be covering the topic of people pleasing. You know, are you a people pleaser? That's an interesting topic. And it's a personality trait that many of us have. We're often givers and we give too much, so it's something that we need to look at managing and balancing. So in the meantime, I'll see you next week. Talk well to one another, take care of each other and look after one another's hearts and minds. Bye.